Last night, we brought you the breaking news out of Portland, a Border Patrol shooting. Media screaming brutality, Democrats rushing to condemn. Well, tonight's the facts are in, and DHS has spoken, and everything the media told you was wrong. The driver tried to kill a federal agent. Both suspects are tied to a violent Venezuelan gang. The cover-up is still in progress. Now, here's what we know. The Department of Homeland Security confirmed the agents attempted to stop a vehicle during a targeted operation. They identified themselves. The driver did not stop. Instead, the driver attempted to run over a federal agent, which is now becoming commonplace. Now, DHS was blunt. The vehicle was the weapon. In law enforcement terms, that is a lethal force scenario, full stop. But before any of these facts came out, the governor of Oregon, Tina Kotek, called it unnecessary violence instigated by Trump's reckless agenda. She said nothing about the attack on the federal agents. CNN actually gave airtime to a Portland City Council member who said, you do not need to shoot first and ask questions later. The narrative was set before the facts ever arrived. You see, when federal agents are being smeared for defending themselves, when the media lies before facts emerge, you have to wonder what else they are hiding. If stores were empty tomorrow and the power went out tonight, would you be ready? My Patriot Supply has a special deal on their 3-month emergency food kit. Save $100 while supplies last. Over 2,000 calories a day for 90 days. Real meals made in the USA, last up to 25 years. Go to preparewithgary.com. That's preparewithgary.com. So here's what the DHS has confirmed. Both suspects were Venezuelan nationals. At least one had documented ties to Tren de Aragua, the violent criminal gang that is known for trafficking, extortion, and organized prostitution. The driver had a final order of removal, yet was still in the United States. Those facts were absent from the initial coverage. When Oregon state legislator called the shooting excessive, then admitted she didn't know exactly what happened. Condemn first, learn later. Meanwhile, Chicago Police Superintendent Larry Snelling laid it clearly. If you box in law enforcement with vehicles, it's reasonable for them to believe they're being ambushed. Here's some of that news from 24 hours ago.
2 people were shot this afternoon. Brace yourself, Portland. There's been another ICE-involved shooting, this time in Southeast Portland. 2 people were shot this afternoon near Portland Adventist behind the Home Depot at Mall 205 in Southeast Portland. The call came in at 2:55 p.m. Early information suggests this was a vehicle-related assault connected to an ICE-involved operation. The victims are believed to be a man and a woman, possibly a married couple. Preliminary reports indicate the woman may have been shot in the chest and the man in the arm. Their conditions have not been officially confirmed. Authorities reportedly located the vehicle and the couple near 146th Avenue in Burnside after they fled the scene. This is a developing story. Information and details may change as more is confirmed.
As more is confirmed, the story here, they say you do not need to shoot first and ask questions later. Avalos joined Alex Michelson to discuss her thoughts on the shooting of 2 people, Border Patrol agents in Portland, of course, on CNN.
It is frustration, anger, sadness. I just, this escalation of violence that continues is unacceptable. It is dangerous for our democracy. And at the end of the day, these federal agents are not making our communities safe. And I am just exacerbated by how frustrated I am.
If they are, in fact, going after gang members who are involved in a prostitution ring, involved in a shooting, and trying to get those people off the streets, isn't that a good thing? And is it also problematic if their car is coming at them, potentially trying to kill them?
I laugh because there are just so many ways that the federal government is trying to make excuses for their behavior when at the end of the day, you do not need to shoot first and ask questions later, right? And so if this is a country that respects due process and justice, then we do not need to accept that being a standard for how you do law enforcement in this country, whether you are police, ICE, CBP. So I don't accept that premise. And I think we deserve better in our justice system when it comes to tackling crime. That's not good enough. Frustration.
Yeah, of course. Right. DHS breaking their silence on the Portland shooting now.
Targeted vehicle. So according to DHS, the Border Patrol agents were conducting a targeted vehicle stop around 2 p.m. local time yesterday. But when, quote, agents identified themselves to the vehicle occupants, the driver weaponized his vehicle and attempted to run over the law enforcement agents. Fearing for his life and safety, an agent fired a defensive shot. The driver drove off with the passenger fleeing the scene. Those two suspects, both illegal migrants believed to be affiliated with the criminal Venezuelan gang, Tren de Aragua, called 911 themselves for help. Here is the dispatch call.
Police are en route. It looks like caller saying that he was shot twice by ICE and his wife was shot as well. They have a male who was shot twice in the arm and his wife who was shot in the chest. Your top group is going to be Alpha 1. Stand by for additional dispatch.
Now, authorities say the male driver is allegedly a TDA member, while the female passenger is affiliated with a transnational prostitution ring run by TDA and was also allegedly involved in a recent Portland shooting. Well, Portland Police Chief Bob Day described what happened once first responders located the suspect's. Watch.
We found a male and a female with apparent gunshot wounds. Officers applied a tourniquet and summoned emergency medical personnel. The patients were transported to local hospital, and their conditions at this time are unknown. This is a federal investigation. It's being led by the FBI.
Now, officials in Portland are calling for an independent investigation into yesterday's shooting. The mayor saying this, quote, the full force threatened by the administration has deadly consequences. As mayor, I call on ICE to end all operations in Portland until a full investigation can be completed. Meanwhile, a group of people protested near the...
Yeah, more paid protesters show up on cue. Matt Tardio says, I want to thank this Portland City Council member for helping to clarify the officer-involved shooting yesterday.
Is there any information you can share with our viewers aside from what Council President shared earlier?
All we know is that at this point, we know that the person who was shot by a federal officer was the one who called for an ambulance. We know that it was a husband and wife, as I understand it. That's about all we know right now.
Yeah, that's about all we know. Yeah, sure. Maybe you should check your facts before you go to the microphone. Oregon Governor Tina Kotek straight up lies about the U.S. Border Patrol shooting in Portland.
By another terrible. We are standing.
Yep, they all look the same, don't they? Is that Ellen? Is that Ellen DeGeneres?
We are standing here today, united as a state, wanting peace and safety in our communities. We are all shaken and outraged by another terrible, unnecessary, violent event instigated by the reckless agenda of the Trump administration. This time in our own state, in our largest city, coming just one day after the tragedy in Minnesota. We are standing here today, united as a state, wanting peace and safety in our communities.
Yeah, and that's why Trump is sending in the Border Patrol to get the prostitutes and gang members off your streets who shouldn't be here in the first place. You'd think you'd be aligned on something like that. You want safety? You get the criminals off the streets. Don't belong. Criminal gang elements in the PNW, the Portland shooting breakdown.
Members who alleged details are being released in the January 8th CBP shooting in Portland of two suspects, Tren de Aragua gang members who allegedly attempted to hit a federal agent with a vehicle. According to DHS, the driver of the vehicle, Luis David Nico Moncada, is a criminal illegal alien from Venezuela and suspected Tren de Aragua gang member. He illegally entered the U.S. in 2022 and was released into the country by the Biden administration. Since then, he was arrested for DUI and unauthorized use of a motor vehicle. He has a final order of removal. The passenger, Yorlens Betsabeth Zambrano Contreras is a criminal alien from Venezuela and is associated with Tren de Aragua. She illegally entered the U.S. in 2023 near El Paso, Texas, and was released into the country by the Biden administration since illegally entering. Contreras played an active role in Tren de Aragua prostitution ring and was involved with a prior shooting in Portland. Now, highlights from the Oregon State officials press conference on January 8th tells us all of the officials attending the presser, including Portland Police Chief Bob Day, admitted they did not know any details of the incident that a shooting occurred that involved 2 suspects and federal agents. The presser was several hours after the incident, at which time DHS had posted more information about the shooting, including that the suspects were Tren de Aragua members. Now, the Portland Mayor Keith Wilson says this is why we are calling on ICE to halt all operations in Portland until a full and independent investigation.
Yeah, we all know. Here's some more. Oregon Democrat State Rep Andrea Valderrama called BP agents.
Investigation. We are doing what we can as elected leaders to call for an end to this excessive force for
This is a wannabe AOC right here.
An investigation and
with less charisma.
And ultimately for peace and a safer neighborhood.
You called it excessive violence. Do we know that it was excessive violence? We haven't seen any video of this yet. What Homeland Security says happened is that they were going after gang members who were in this country illegally, who were then driving a car at them, and they feared for their life. How do you know that it was excessive?
I'm absolutely supportive of our Department of Justice's call for an investigation into what happened today. So I am eager with many of my neighbors to learn more about what happened. We are doing what we can as elected leaders to call for an end to this excessive force, for an investigation, and ultimately for peace and
ultimately for peace. Yeah. Breaking. One of those shot. Here's what DHS told Fox.
And they respond again, according to Portland police, just before 2:30, officers received information that a man had been calling for help in this area, and they responded, found a male and a female with apparent gunshot wounds. Again, police and officers on scene worked to give people medical aid during this incident before they were transferred to area hospitals. Again, their conditions right now are still unknown.
Information as we can in the meantime. Okay, Christina, thank you. The FBI has just released a tweet saying FBI Portland is investigating an agent-involved shooting that happened at approximately 2:15 near the 10,000 block of Main Street in Portland, involving Customs and Border Patrol agents.
You see, this is the playbook. Smear federal agents before facts emerge, manufacture outrage, frame enforcement as brutality, and when the truth comes out, move on without corrections. This is exactly what we warned you about at the top of the show. The George Floyd playbook is back. Say her name is the new slogan, and every shooting, every enforcement action, every federal operation will be twisted into another excuse to burn cities and demonize law enforcement. Now, here's the connection that you need to understand. Portland is not an isolated incident. It is a test case. The same forces staging autonomous zones in Minneapolis, the same activists calling for the execution of ICE agents in New York, the same politicians threatening to arrest federal officers in Philadelphia are waiting for the next martyr. They don't care about facts. They care about fuel. A gang member tries to run over a federal agent. They call it brutality. A criminal with a final removal order gets shot and they scream injustice. This is how 2020 happened. Slogans move faster than facts. Outrage replaced evidence and cities burned while politicians stood by. They are setting the stage to do it again. Portland today, your city tomorrow. So here's my question. Are you prepared for another summer of love? Yes or no? Answer in the comments. And check out the Next News merch shop in the description.
The system controls information. Information control is power. They don't want you to see this. The truth only survives together. They don't want this. Share this now.